Imagine looking up at the morning sky and seeing a planet change color before your eyes, not over centuries, not over decades, but in mere hours. It is March 11th, 2026, and what occurred 14 hours ago has redefined our understanding of the solar system. NASA's Deep Space Network, working alongside the Akatsuki orbiter hovering near Venus, recorded an event with a statistical probability of natural occurrence less than 1 in 8.5 billion. This is not a small weather anomaly, not a minor atmospheric fluctuation. This is a planetary scale transformation unfolding before the instruments of our civilization. At exactly 4:12 UTC this morning, the sulfuric acid clouds of Venus, which have blanketed the planet in a pale, toxic yellow for millions of years, began to shift. Within just 90 minutes, the planet's albedo dropped dramatically, and its spectral signature surged violently across the 50 to 550 nanometer range. In simpler terms, Venus turned green. Visualize it. You're peering through a backyard telescope, expecting the familiar pale yellow of the morning star, but instead, you see a localized emerald sphere, a hue that evokes life, something organic, almost alive. The implications are staggering. Planets do not change color overnight. Geological processes unfold over eras, not hours. Yet the James Webb Space Telescope's NIRSPEC instrument confirmed it. At 4:15 UTC, a massive spike in aerosolized chlorophyll analogs appeared in Venus's upper atmosphere, not trace amounts, but densities comparable to the Amazon rainforest, suspended some 50 kilometers above the surface, and the timing is uncanny. This chemical cascade began precisely 18 minutes after an object, 3I Atlas, passed within 40,000 kilometers of Venus's cloud tops. As a physicist, I've spent my life studying the natural laws that govern our universe. Thermodynamics tells us entropy always increases. Complex systems break down, they do not spontaneously assemble into high-energy biological precursors. Converting a sulfuric acid atmosphere into a nitrogen, oxygen, and chlorophyll cycle requires energy levels that defy every known chemical model. Yet, here we are. The ESUS Envision orbiter confirms the readings. Japan's JAXA team confirms it. The Haleakala Observatory in Hawaii confirms it visually. 3 independent sources, using entirely different methodologies, have reached the same conclusion. Venus is undergoing a catalytic transformation on a planetary scale. The energy required to break the sulfur bonds in Venus's atmosphere so rapidly is staggering, far beyond the capabilities of natural phenomena. This suggests that 3I Atlas is not merely a rock, not just a comet. It is functioning as a seeding mechanism. The implications are profound. If a single object can alter the atmosphere of a planet long deemed uninhabitable, transforming it in mere hours, then this is not random. It is the work of technology that sits at the pinnacle of the Kardashev scale. Pause and consider what this means. If 3I Atlas can achieve this with Venus, what did it do when it passed Mars? And more critically, what happens if its attention turns toward Earth? The oxygen levels detected in Venus's upper atmosphere are not just numbers, they indicate the planet is literally breathing. To put this in context, consider the timeline. Atmospheric evolution normally takes millions of years. On Venus, scientists have observed clouds thickening with sulfur dioxide for decades, consistent with 96% carbon dioxide, surface temperatures capable of melting lead, and the textbook runaway greenhouse effect. Yet yesterday, March 9, 2026, at 14 UTC, the Envision orbiter detected a massive thermal anomaly in the upper atmosphere. At first, it seemed like a glitch. Temperature at 60 kilometers altitude dropped by 40 Kelvin in under an hour, a thermodynamic impossibility, without massive energy input. Then, at 16:30 UTC, spectral analysis shifted. NASA's Deep Space Network detected molecular oxygen spiking in the cloud layer, not in trace amounts, but rising from near 0 to 2% in the span of an afternoon. To generate this much oxygen on a CO2-dominated planet would require energy equivalent to 500 million nuclear detonations per second, purely to break carbon-oxygen bonds. And yet, there were no explosions, no flares, just a silent, rapid chemical conversion. NASA, JAXA, and ALMA all confirmed the phenomenon independently. The oxygen was there, and it was growing. Hours later, another anomaly emerged. At 2 UTC on March 10th, Atmospheric pressure at 55 kilometers stabilized. Venus's chaotic superrotation winds, normally whipping at 300 kilometers per hour, slowed and organized into laminar flows. Turbulence vanished. The precision required to calm an entire planetary storm system suggests a dampening mechanism far beyond our current technology. At the center of this transformation, 3I Atlas emitted a pulsed resonance frequency at 4.2 Hz, matching the vibrational frequency of CO2 molecules. This was not random, it was deliberate atmospheric manipulation, stripping carbon, releasing oxygen, and creating complex organic polymers that began raining from the upper clouds. By 6:30 UTC, the Russian Venera D mission concept team detected localized pressure drops on Venus's surface, confirming that the greenhouse effect itself was being reversed. The probability that a comet could accidentally emit the exact frequency to trigger such changes is effectively 0, 1 inch, 10, 50. We are witnessing intentional planetary engineering. The scale is almost impossible to grasp. Picture a petri dish where bacteria grow and alter their environment. Now, scale that to an entire planet. If 3I Atlas is a machine capable of converting Venus into a habitable zone in under 24 hours, who built it and why now? By 10 a.m. New York time, the data became even more extraordinary. Oxygen levels in Venus's 50-kilometer band had risen to 18%, nearly breathable for humans. The temperature hovered around 25 degrees Celsius, the pressure roughly 1 bar, and the atmospheric composition included nitrogen, oxygen, and argon. In less than a day, a layer of Venus had become potentially habitable. But the astonishing part was not just the numbers, it was the precision. The clouds weren't just turning green, they were forming complex geometric patterns. A perfect hexagon emerged at the South Pole, rotating counter to the planet's spin. According to fluid dynamics, such a structure shouldn't exist, and yet, there it was. When the European Space Agency pointed the CHOPS telescope at this hexagon, they discovered it was emitting a signal, not a conventional radio signal, but a modulated neutrino pulse. Neutrinos are ghost particles. They pass through everything, even light years of solid matter. To manipulate them requires technology far beyond anything humanity has ever built. The pulse was directed focus toward us. The physics behind what was happening on Venus is staggering, transforming the entire atmosphere, stripping sulfur, breaking carbon bonds, and releasing free oxygen would demand energy equivalent to the total solar output hitting Earth for a year, concentrated into just a 12-hour window. 3I Atlas is only a few kilometers across. It has no visible fusion reactor, no massive solar arrays, yet the readings suggest it is generating petawatts of power. Conventional physics begins to break down in the face of these observations. At 11:15 UTC, the IceCube Neutrino Observatory in Antarctica detected a high-energy neutrino flux emanating directly from Venus. But this was no random burst. The neutrinos were coherent, modulated, and uniform, each particle precisely 5.8 PV. In nature, neutrino distributions follow a bell curve. Randomness dominates. Here, the energy spectrum was perfectly flat. This is engineered, precise control over the weak nuclear force, a manipulation of matter at its most fundamental level. Then, at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, the neutrino stream split. One beam continued targeting Venus, fueling its atmospheric conversion. The second beam pivoted 42 degrees and locked onto Earth. IceCube detectors immediately registered a signal 400% above background noise. Embedded in the stream was a repeating sequence of prime numbers, the universal language of mathematics. This was no coincidence. This is intelligence on a scale humanity has never encountered, a civilization operating at Type 1 on the Kardashev scale. It became clear that 3I Atlas is not just terraforming Venus, it is communicating. But what is it saying? The probability that a natural object could emit a neutrino-modulated prime sequence while simultaneously terraforming a planet is effectively zero. Observations from decades of astronomy have never recorded anything like this. Even the most skeptical scientists, those who doubt any artificial origin, acknowledge this morning. We can no longer rule out an artificial source. By 14 Eastern Standard Time, Breakthrough Listen at the Green Bank Telescope in West Virginia detected something even more astonishing. Hidden in the neutrino stream was a repeating binary pattern, a 1679, the Arecibo message sent in 1974. This was humanity's message to the cosmos, detailing our DNA, our atomic elements, our human form. But the signal returning from Venus had been altered. Silicon, listed in our DNA, was replaced by sulfur. The human figure had a larger head and a different body structure. The population count was 1, not the 4 billion we sent. The implications are staggering. If this is a reflection, then something out there intercepted our message, decoded it, modified it to reflect its own biology, and returned it from within our solar system. The modifications suggest a sulfur-based life form. Venus's green clouds, the sudden oxygen spike, the wind stabilization. It isn't terraforming for us. It is terraforming for them. Within 30 minutes, the International Astronomical Union issued a Level 7 alert, the highest extraterrestrial intelligence alert ever issued. For the first time in SETI history, we are witnessing undeniable contact. Humanity's message into the void, saying, "We are carbon-based, living on the third planet," has been answered. "We are sulfur-based, we are on the second planet, and we are arriving." The data continues to astonish. Oxygen levels climb hourly. The neutrino signal sharpens. 3I Atlas is approaching its final position at the L1 Lagrange point, the gravitationally stable location between the Sun and Venus. In 14 hours, it will stop, stabilize, and pivot fully toward Earth. This is a sentinel, a permanent monitor capable of transmitting energy and information to both planets simultaneously. The central question now is intent. Is 3I Atlas a gardener, cultivating a dead planet into a habitable world, or is it a harvester, preparing resources for its own civilization? The energy readings correspond to the theoretical output of a von Neumann probe, a self-replicating machine capable of mining, manufacturing, and building copies of itself across the galaxy. Venus is a resource-rich planet filled with carbon, sulfur, and nitrogen, all materials needed to produce more probes. The green clouds may not be plants. They could be the exhaust of planetary-scale manufacturing. And if that is true, Earth could be next. All the anomalies observed, the oxygen spike, the stabilized winds, the neutrino stream targeting our ocean trenches, suggest preparation. The trenches, like the Mariana and Tonga, are the thinnest points in Earth's crust, the pressure points of our planet. A civilization seeking to terraform Earth would logically start there, at the tectonic boundaries, the gateways to the planet's interior. 3I Atlas is on a hyperbolic trajectory that should eject it from the solar system. Yet Doppler data shows deceleration beyond what gravity alone allows. It is parking itself at L1, positioning for constant observation and action. The precision and energy required to accomplish this are beyond comprehension, far exceeding any human or natural capability. And now, humanity stands at a crossroads. The oxygen levels continue to rise on Venus. The neutrino beam is sharpening its focus. The modified Arecibo message suggests an intelligence aware of our presence and capable of responding in kind. The evidence is overwhelming. This is no natural event. This is contact, terraforming, and preparation on a scale that challenges everything we thought we knew about life, intelligence, and technology in the universe. As we approach the final hours, the picture is terrifying and awe-inspiring all at once. 3I Atlas is minutes away from reaching its parking position at the L1 Lagrange point. Once it stabilizes, it will maintain an uninterrupted view of both Venus and Earth, capable of directing energy and information to both planets simultaneously. Every observation, every measurement, every neutrino pulse tells the same story. This is not random. This is deliberate. The Earth-facing neutrino beam is already targeting our deep ocean trenches, the Mariana, Tonga, and Puerto Rico trenches. From a geophysical standpoint, these are the thinnest points of the crust, the natural stress points of the planet. If one were preparing Earth for terraforming or modifying its internal structures, these would be the most effective targets. The precision required to aim a neutrino stream with such accuracy across millions of kilometers of space is inconceivable. It suggests control, not just over matter, but over planetary systems themselves. The implications for humanity are staggering. The oxygen spike on Venus is no longer a marginal anomaly. It is proof that 3I Atlas can manipulate a planet's atmosphere, stabilize winds, and even build organic lattice structures in the clouds. In essence, it has turned a hellish world into a potentially habitable environment in less than a day. If it can do this on Venus, it could theoretically do the same to Earth or tailor the planet for a species entirely unlike us. The modified Arecibo message, altered to reflect a sulfur-based life form, shows exactly that. The alien intelligence is not shaping Venus for us, it is shaping Venus for themselves. We must also consider the exponential growth model of galactic colonization. If 3I Atlas is a von Neumann-style probe, its mission is not to visit or observe, but to reproduce. Venus is a factory, transforming raw materials, generating energy, and producing copies of itself. Once complete, these copies could move to other planets or systems, potentially reaching Earth. The window to understand or respond is closing by the hour. Meanwhile, every hour, new data streams in. Oxygen levels continue to rise, reaching levels that make the atmosphere increasingly breathable for humans in certain layers. The neutrino beam grows more coherent, more structured, and more focused. The energy signatures suggest it is drawing power from sources we cannot yet detect, yet the system operates flawlessly. This is not chaos. This is engineering on a scale that humanity has never witnessed. And then there is the question of communication. The sequence embedded in the neutrino beam, the prime numbers, the modified Arecibo message is a signal of intent, a proof of intelligence. It is not just a greeting, it is a reflection of their biology, a demonstration of awareness, and perhaps even a warning. If they can modify a planetary atmosphere, respond to human signals, and aim a neutrino beam with such precision, the question is not whether they are intelligent, they are. The question is what they want. The stakes are no longer abstract. The time frame is shrinking. In exactly 14 hours, 3I Atlas will reach its final orbit at L1. At that moment, it will stabilize, stop moving relative to the Sun, and focus entirely on Earth and Venus. Humanity will witness, in real time, an intelligence operating at a scale that dwarfs our own technology and comprehension. Every telescope, every detector, every monitoring station is pointed, live, recording data that could redefine our understanding of life, technology, and our place in the cosmos. Scientists and planetary defense experts are now convening emergency meetings. The Pentagon has held classified briefings. International space agencies are coordinating responses. The data shows anomalies that cannot be ignored: rising oxygen, stabilized winds, organic lattice formation, and neutrino communication. The pattern is deliberate. The message is unmistakable. The energy output is far beyond anything humanity can generate. 3I Atlas is not a visitor. It is a participant in planetary scale engineering. And what happens once terraforming is complete? That is the question that keeps astrophysicists and policymakers awake at night. If this is benevolent, humanity gains a second home, a twin Earth in our solar system. But if this is preparation, if Venus is being shaped for a sulfur-based species, then Earth could be next. The signals targeting our ocean trenches suggest that the mechanisms for planetary modification are already aimed at us. The clock is ticking, and every hour brings new insights and new risks. In the next 12 hours, the final phase of this operation will unfold. Oxygen levels on Venus will continue to rise, and the neutrino beam toward Earth will sharpen. The Arecibo message reflected back from Venus confirms intelligent engagement. The modified biology within the signal suggests a species adapted to a sulfur-rich environment. And with 3I Atlas poised at L1, humanity will have its first uninterrupted, close-range observation of an intelligence operating at a scale and sophistication beyond comprehension. This is the moment when humanity must confront a reality we have long speculated about but never experienced firsthand. We are not alone. We are being observed, studied, and perhaps prepared for contact with an intelligence that exceeds our own in ways we are only beginning to understand. The implications for science, philosophy, and the future of our species are profound. Our assumptions about life, civilization, and the Kardashev scale may all need to be rewritten. And yet, there is hope. Hope that this intelligence may be benevolent, that Venus could become a second home, a sanctuary, or even a collaborator in humanity's cosmic journey. But there is also caution. because every action they take demonstrates power beyond our ability to resist. Humanity must watch, analyze, and prepare. The data will continue to pour in. Every hour counts. Every measurement could reveal the intention behind this unprecedented phenomenon. So, as you watch, remember the timeline. March 10th, 2026, 3I Atlas passes Venus. Hours later, the clouds turn green, oxygen spikes, winds stabilize, and organic lattice structures form. Neutrino beams strike Earth's trenches. A modified Arecibo message is returned. In less than 24 hours, the probe will park at L1, capable of monitoring and influencing both planets simultaneously. The question is no longer whether this is intelligent, it is what their next move will be and how humanity will respond. We are witnessing the dawn of a new era, an era in which the universe has answered humanity's 50-year-long question, are we alone? The answer is clear, but the implications go beyond a simple yes or no. The answer carries consequences, instructions, and a warning. Venus is changing before our eyes. Earth may be next, and the intelligence responsible is not only aware of us, it is capable of shaping our planets, our environment, and potentially the future of life itself. As we continue to monitor, one thing is certain: this is a moment in history that will define humanity for generations. Whether it leads to cooperation, survival, or confrontation, the choices we make in the coming hours could determine the fate of our species. Every telescope pointed, every detector online, every scientist watching, they are all witnessing what may be the single most important event in human history. Stay tuned, remain vigilant, and watch the skies. This is not science fiction, this is real. And what unfolds next will decide the destiny of our planet and our species. Don't look away. Humanity's story in the cosmos is changing right now, and you are watching it happen. If you want to follow every update, every discovery, and the latest analysis on 3I Atlas and the ongoing Venus transformation, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join us as we track this unfolding cosmic event in real time.